How to deal with hypnosis client resistance in basic, simple terms that are easy to understand. So let us begin. And first, I'm going to define what I mean by resistant clients. And so this is within your hypnosis session. Okay. So we are going to skip that part at the beginning of screening your client. We are talking about a context of one client coming into your session and they've done the journey of them filling out your calendar form to book in a strategy call with you. You've asked them questions about their problem, about their motivation to fix a problem. You have gone through the strategy or sales call with them to determine that they are a match, that they are motivated, that they want to change, and they say, oh my God, I am 10 out of 10 ready for this change. I am 100%, 110% ready to make this change. I am ready. Let's book. I am done with this emotional eating problem. Let's use that as a symptom. So someone with emotional eating gets into your strategy call and is completely motivated. Okay. This is the context that we're working with today. So they've signed the contract with you. You gave them a results-based offer. That is very important. Results-based offer, not a I'm going to give you 10 hypnotherapy sessions offer, a results-based offer. I'm going to help you to heal your emotional eating so that you can be healthier and live a strong, healthy life, something like that. And so they come into your first session and then they resist, which means that you have tried your wonderful techniques. You have maybe read a script, maybe you used a swish dissociation pattern by NLP, maybe you have used parts therapy, maybe you have regression, maybe you have inner child work, yet somehow they're not really opening up. They're kind of going through the process, but sometimes your client doesn't visualize, or pretty much not going along with what you're saying, or they're not really understanding what you're getting them to do. Okay, this is resistance. And the very first thing that you want to do here is not blame the client. Okay, so many hypnotherapists are immediately defaulting on blaming the client. This is a video for another day, and even trainers do this and teach this, which is ridiculous to me because if you followed the very simple rule of screening your clients, making sure they're motivated, and having a results-based offer, it's not the client's problem. It's a complete cop out from the lack of skill of some hypnotherapists that are ego driven. So when you go into your session and you're noticing that maybe this client, maybe you have asked them to visualize 10 stairs going down into the beach and they hear the wonderful sound of the waves crashing and they're relaxing with every wave crash, and somehow they are just not relaxing. You could tell they're still very, very fidgety and they're not really seeing the visualizations. This is actually quite common for our clients. Why? Because not everyone is visual. I'm someone who cannot visualize that shit, and I will be the most resistant hypnosis client because my brain works differently. And this is exactly why a client would resist. You're using something that a client's brain just doesn't go with. Like it doesn't match with it. And that's fine. That's not neither you nor the client's fault. It is a technique problem. It is a script problem. It is an induction problem. Because somehow in the hypnotherapy world, we were taught that everyone can just use these scripts because these have been around for a long time. Meanwhile, you have clients who say it didn't work for me, not because they are not willing to change, but it's because it was the wrong technique, even at the wrong time, at the wrong circumstance. So what you want to do is you want to sit with that client, continue sitting with a client and assess what are they actually resistant with? Like explore the resistance. Is it like when they say, no, I can't relax. I'm still awake, I'm still fidgety. So explore why they're not relaxed. Like ask them, were you able to visualize? Were you able to visualize the steps, right? So if you're using the traditional techniques and induction and progressive muscle relaxation, Were they able to do that? You want to think about it in a client's point of view. It's not about you, it's about your client, right? So if a client cannot visualize and you're asking them to go down the stairs and they can't do it and they're trying so hard, they're going to doubt themselves first. They're going to think, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. This is not even going to work. That's what a client's thoughts are going to be like. Like, I can't even follow instructions about going down the stairs. Something is wrong with me, but it has nothing to do with them, like I mentioned. So ask them about it. Can you not see this? They'll tell you. And then you readjust your approach, right? That is it. That is it. You adapt with the client. And then if maybe you've gone to a place where maybe they did relax and maybe that is your technique and you go into the investigatory phase and you investigate the root of the emotional eating for this client, but you can tell that they're not really opening up with you, you know that they're hiding something, then explore that resistance, right? You want to be like, okay, so John Doe, you said that you really, really wanted to get rid of this emotional eating. So why are you avoiding that question, right? So if you ask them a question and you can tell that they're just avoiding it, they're using the conscious fluff and backwards rationalizations, and they're not really giving you juicy answers, tell them, right? Ask them, what are you resisting, and explore that. You need to meet your client where you're at because that is how they are going to open up with you, right? And so this is how you adapt. And it really is just all about listening to your clients and working with the flow and going with the flow on and having that spontaneity instead of the structure that hypnosis schools tell us to do when really if we want to work with the unconscious mind is not structured. It's all over the place. So you're trying to structure something that is unstructured. How do you think that's going to go? Not good. And people think that the unconscious mind can just receive suggestions and will automatically do it. That's a huge lack of understanding because the unconscious mind is stubborn as fuck. It wants homeostasis. So giving suggestions, I would not recommend that either. All I'm what I'm recommending is assessing what they're actually resistant, like what is the resistance, right? Is it the technique? Is it they can't visualize and you do something else and they actually go through with that? Is it because maybe your questions aren't as clear and you need to repeat yourself? That's fine. Is it because you have just given them this dramatic metaphor and they just don't understand that, they cannot visualize that? That is fine. Move into something else. This is why scripts and techniques are very, very limiting, because so not everyone needs to go through a scene in regression in order for the problem to be solved. And so if you want to level up your skills with regards to the results that your clients have to ensure that you significantly reduce the resistance, you want to use principles instead. You want to meet a client where they're at. You want to start with a conversation. You want to first start by asking questions. Why? Because what happens if I ask you a question right now, right? Who was your childhood best friend? However your mind works, you have answered that question one way or the other. You might have visualized that person. Whatever your brain is doing is how you would solve the problem. And that's going to be very different. And what did I just help you do when I asked you a question? I helped you retrieve unconscious information. Were you always thinking about your childhood best friend? No, that information is in your long-term unconscious memory bank. So by asking you a question, you're actually getting your clients to receive unconscious information. And what this does, why this is important, asking questions is that as humans, how do we connect? Through conversation, right? Hey, John Doe, how are you? I am good. How are you? I'm really good. Okay, John Doe, are you ready for the session? And John Doe says, yeah, I'm ready. Question answer, right? Question answer. That is how we connect. That is a natural process that we do always as humans. We ask each other questions. That's a conversation. And by starting a conversation, you are then helping your client to lower their guard down, which then reduces the resistance. They cannot tell that you have started, because the second you say, okay, John Doe, close your eyes, they know that you have started. And their nervousness, if they are not very body or internal aware, they are going to have a difficult time focusing, which then gives you that point of resistance. And so by starting a conversation, which is very natural, what you're doing is doing the induction, you're doing the deepener, you're doing the suggestibility, because your client is gonna answer your question, because that's how the brain works, right? It's a goal seeking mechanism. So you ask a question, that is the goal. The brain is going to find that answer in one way or the other. And so that is pretty much the basics of how to work with resistance, simply just by exploring it. If you're using techniques and you haven't learned the hypnotic questioning method, explore what actually are they resisting. Don't assume that they don't want to change. Explore. Is it your technique? If so, use another one, right? Is it because they are just scared to change? Then question it, explore it, investigate it. That's your job. And also, if you want to level up, we are going to get rid of the pre-talks, the induction, the deepeners, the lemon suggestibility test, the regressions that can cause re-traumatization, the audios. We get rid of all of that shit because it is not necessary inside the neurosync hypnotic questioning method. And so the live trainings are going to be in August. So if you are someone who definitely wants to level up their skills and wants to confidently work with resistant clients without the stress and losing sleep about how your methods don't work and how it gives hit or miss results, let's work with principles instead and go by a client-centered approach that doesn't have or need anything else other than your full attention on the client, which, hint, hint, the clients enjoy a lot more. And so I hope this helped. And if you have any questions at all, let me know, and I will see you soon. Let's make a massive impact together, one conversation at a time.